Question. The maximum fine for a first conviction of driving without a valid driver's license is option number 1, $100, option number 2, $200, option number 3, $300. The answer is option number 2, $200. Question. What do you do in case of a tire blowout? Option number 1. Speed up to gain traction and then pull to the right. Option number 2. Steer firmly, take your foot off the gas and brake cautiously. Option number 3. Apply the brakes, then shift into neutral. The answer is option number 2. Steer firmly, take your foot off the gas and brake cautiously. Note: if you have a flat tire or a blowout, do not hit the brake suddenly and hard. Take your foot off the gas pedal and gently apply the brakes. Steer straight ahead to a stop. Question. If your driver's license is suspended, you may drive only. Option number 1. If you get an emergency need license. Option number 2. If you get an essential need license. Option number 3. If you get a medical need license. The answer is option number 2. If you get an essential need license. Note: an occupational license, also called an essential need license, is a special type of restricted license issued to individuals whose driver license has been cancelled, suspended, revoked or denied for certain offences. Question. If you are not intoxicated and you are under the age of 21, if you have any detectable amount of alcohol below the 0.08 BAC legal limit in your system while operating a motor vehicle, you may be charged with option number 1. Minor provided specimen confirming detectable amount of alcohol. Option number 2. Driving under the influence of alcohol by a minor. Option number 3. No charges for below 0.08 BAC legal limit. The answer is option number 1. Minor provided specimen confirming detectable amount of alcohol. Question. When entering a street from a private driveway or alley, you must option number 1. Stop prior to sidewalk and honk your horn before proceeding ahead. Option number 2. Slow down prior to entering the street. Option number 3. Yield to vehicles and pedestrians. The answer is option number 3. Yield to vehicles and pedestrians. Note: when entering or crossing a road, street or highway from a private road, alley, building or driveway, you must stop prior to the sidewalk and yield the right of way to all approaching vehicles and pedestrians. Question. When approaching a green traffic light, you should option number 1. Look both ways as you proceed ahead carefully. Option number 2. Stop completely before entering the crosswalk or intersection, then proceed when you can do so safely. Option number 3. Slow down and proceed with caution. The answer is option number 1. Look both ways as you proceed ahead carefully. Question. Alcohol affects a driver by option number 1. Creating mental disorder. Option number 2. Short-term alertness. Option number 3. Dulling judgment. The answer is option number 3. Dulling judgment. Note: alcohol affects a driver by slowing down reaction, impairing perception, interfering with concentration, dulling judgment, and causing unstable emotions. Question. What effect does drinking alcohol and taking a prescription drug or over-the-counter medicine have? Option number 1. The medicine reduces the effect of the alcohol. Option number 2. The combination could multiply the effects of the alcohol. Option number 3. No effect. They are different substances. The answer is option number 2. The combination could multiply the effects of the alcohol. Question. When making a long trip, you should stop for a rest. Option number 1. Every 2 hours or every 150 miles. Option number 2. Every 3 hours or every 100 miles. Option number 3. Every 2 hours or every 100 miles. The answer is option number 3. Every 2 hours or every 100 miles. Note. A condition of drowsiness or unawareness can be brought on by reduced activity and steady sound of wind, engine and tire hum. This is known as highway hypnosis. Steps to avoid highway hypnosis are: Number 1. Stop at least every 2 hours or every 100 miles. Get out of your car and walk around. Allow your muscles to relax. Number 2. Do not drive more than 8 hours per day. Question. When parking parallel, it is best to leave the curb side wheels. Option number 1. 6 to 18 inches from the curb. Option number 2. 5 to 20 inches from the curb. Option number 3. 6 to 20 inches from the curb. The answer is option number 1. 6 to 18 inches from the curb. Note. You should be about 6 inches from the curb. Do not park more than 18 inches from the curb or edge of the road. Question. On a multiple lane highway, slow drivers should drive. Option number 1. In the furthest left lane. Option number 2. In the furthest right lane. Option number 3. In any lane. The answer is option number 2. In the furthest right lane. Question. Not including thinking and reaction distance at 20 miles per hour, lawful brakes must stop a car within: option number 1. 20 feet. Option number 2. 25 feet. Option number 3. 30 feet. The answer is option number 2. 25 feet. Note. With the use of foot brake, the car must stop within a distance of 25 feet at a speed of 20 miles per hour. Question. Why should you drive slower at night? Option number 1. Headlight glare create problems to driver. Option number 2. People feel tired at night. Option number 3. The distance you can see ahead is less. Option number 4. All of the above. The answer is option number 4. All of the above. Note. Driving at night is much more dangerous than driving during the day. Many people do not see as well as night. When taking a trip, it is safer to drive during daylight hours. Also, never drive when you are tired. Question. A green arrow showing with a red traffic light means: option number 1. You may go ahead carefully in the direction of the arrow after yielding the right of way to other vehicles and pedestrians. Option number 2. You may go ahead in the direction of the arrow. Option number 3. Stop completely before going ahead in the direction of the arrow. The answer is option number 1. You may go ahead carefully in the direction of the arrow after yielding the right of way to other vehicles and pedestrians. Question. If you get drowsy, it is best to: option number 1. Take rest inside the car for 10 minutes. Option number 2. Drive slowly in the right lane. Option number 3. Stop, get out and walk around. The answer is option number 3. Stop, get out and walk around. Note. A condition of drowsiness or unawareness can be brought while driving a car due to reduced activity and steady sound of wind, engine and tire hum. This is known as highway hypnosis. Stop often. Even if you are feeling well, you should stop at least every 2 hours or every 100 miles. Get out of your car and walk around. Allow your muscles to relax. Question. If a driver age 21 or older runs over and kills someone while under the influence of alcohol, the driver may be charged with option number 1, involuntary manslaughter, option number 2, intoxication manslaughter, option number 3, intoxication assault. The answer is option number 2, intoxication manslaughter. Note: causing the death or serious injury of anyone while operating a motor vehicle is charged with involuntary manslaughter. Question: if you have an accident in which someone is injured, you should option number 1, leave the victim and proceed to hospital. Option number 2, carefully help anyone injured and send for skilled help as soon as possible. Option number 3, call the police, share the location details. The answer is option number 2, carefully help anyone injured and send for skilled help as soon as possible. Question: a minor, if under the age of 17, driver's license may be suspended for a first offense of driving under the detectable amount of alcohol by a minor for option number 1, up to 30 days, option number 2, up to 60 days, option number 3, up to 180 days. The answer is option number 2, up to 60 days. Question: as a driver age 21 or older, if you refuse a test to determine the amount of alcohol in your body, option number 1, your license may be suspended for 90 days. Option number 2, your license may be suspended for 180 days. Option number 3, your license may be suspended for 365 days. The answer is option number 2, your license may be suspended for 180 days. Note: a person who refuses to give a blood or breath specimen for analysis will have their driver license suspended for 180 days. If a person submits to a blood or breath specimen and the result shows a BAC of 0.08 or greater, the driver license may be suspended for 90 to 365 days. Question: when turning, you should signal at least option number 1, 50 feet before turning, option number 2, 100 feet before turning, option number 3, 200 feet before turning. The answer is option number 2, 100 feet before turning. Question: if a minor refuses to provide a breath or blood specimen to a police officer, the minor's license will be suspended for option number 1, 120 days, option number 2, 1 year, option number 3, 2 years. The answer is option number 1, 120 days. Question: it is a violation of state law for pedestrians to option number 1, stand in the road for purpose of soliciting a ride, option number 2, stand in the road for purpose of business, option number 3, all of the above. The answer is option number 3, all of the above. Note: no person may stand in the road for the purpose of soliciting a ride, contributions or business. A person may stand in a road to solicit a charitable contribution if authorized to do so by the local authority having jurisdiction over the road. Question: under favorable circumstances, including reaction time, a motor vehicle going 50 can be stopped within option number 1, about 164 feet, option number 2, about 229 feet, option number 3, about 303 feet. The answer is option number 2, about 229 feet. Note: for speed of 50 miles per hour, reaction distance is 110 feet, brake distance of car is 119 feet, total distance to stop is 229 feet. Question: the car behind you begins to pass you. You should option number 1, Maintain your speed so traffic will flow smoothly. Option number 2. Pull to the right and stop so he can pass. Option number 3. Slow down and allow him to pass. The answer is option number 3. Slow down and allow him to pass. Note: if another vehicle passes you on the left, decrease your speed slightly and stay centered in your lane. When the vehicle has safely passed and is ahead of you, continue at your normal speed. Question: to avoid accidents, a defensive driver should: option number 1. Keep your eyes straight in your vehicle path. Option number 2. Stay alert and look for trouble spots. Option number 3. All of above. The answer is option number 2. Stay alert and look for trouble spots. Note: to avoid crashes, the defensive driver should: number 1. Stay alert and keep eyes moving to keep track of what is happening at all times. Number 2. Look for trouble spots developing all around. Number 3. Have a plan of action. Number 4. Know that the law requires drivers to protect each other from their own mistakes. Question: when approaching an intersection, bridge or railroad crossing, you should never drive on the left side of the roadway within: option number 1. 50 feet. Option number 2. 75 feet. Option number 3. 100 feet. The answer is option number 3. 100 feet. Question: the maximum fine for a first non-driving alcohol-related offense or possession of consumption of alcohol by a minor is: option number 1. $100. Option number 2. $200. Option number 3. $500. The answer is option number 3. $500. Question: in a passenger car or truck, who needs to use safety belts mandatorily? Option number 1. Everyone. Option number 2. Exception only in cases of emergency. Option number 3. Exception only in cases of medical emergency use. The answer is option number 1. Everyone. Note: there are no exceptions to the safety belt laws. However, there are some defenses to prosecution for postal workers, individuals who deliver the newspaper, utility workers, solid waste truck workers, certain commercial farm vehicle operators, or medical reasons with a physician note. Question: what is the first thing that should be done when a motor vehicle starts to skid? Option number 1. Brake quickly and keep the wheel straight. Option number 2. Lock your brakes until you have come to a complete stop. Option number 3. Take your foot off the accelerator and steer in the direction of the skid. The answer is option number 3. Take your foot off the accelerator and steer in the direction of the skid. Note: if your car starts to skid on slippery road, take your foot off the gas pedal and turn the steering wheel in the direction of the skid. Don't brake hard. Question: if blinded by an approaching motor vehicle at night, it is best to: option number 1. Avoid looking directly into the lights. Shift your eyes down to the left side of your traffic lane. Option number 2. Avoid looking directly into the lights. Shift your eyes down to the lower right side of your traffic lane. Option number 3. Slow down and avoid looking directly into the lights of the approaching vehicle. The answer is option number 2. Avoid looking directly into the lights. Shift your eyes down to the lower right side of your traffic lane. Question: when choosing your driving speed, the most important things to consider are: option number 1. Weather condition. Option number 2. Traffic and road condition. Option number 3. All of above. The answer is option number 3. All of above. Question: After passing another vehicle, it is safe to return to your lane after option number 1. Waiting until you can see the other vehicle passing in your rear view mirror. Option number 2. After putting your turn signal on. Option number 3. After turning your headlights on. The answer is option number 1. Waiting until you can see the other vehicle passing in your rear view mirror. Note: pass on the left and do not return to the right lane until you have safely cleared the overtaking vehicle. Wait until you can see the car you have just passed in your rear view mirror before returning to the right lane. Question: when driving in fog, you can see better by option number 1. Using fog lights. Option number 2. Using high headlight beams. Option number 3. Using low headlight beams. The answer is option number 3. Using low headlight beams.